如果你在聆听时不需要频繁暂停就能理解大意，那么你的英语积累在日常表达中是完全够用的。像学母语一样学英语，我们开始吧。
A big city can be a lonely place, even when its bright lights shine with promises of a new life. Here, two young people are both searching for a dream far from their homes. They each also carry an ambition to change. The year was 1986. Jun came from his quiet town in mainland China. To Jun, Hong Kong was an amazing shock to Jun. It was a land of sky-high buildings that looked like they could fall, and a rushing river of more faces than he could ever count. He felt a little lost, he felt a little scared, but he also felt excited. He kept a picture of his girlfriend, Ting, tucked safely in his wallet, dreaming of the day he could bring her to live with him. Ting was waiting for him, and Jun missed her very much. Qiao also came from mainland China, but she had been in Hong Kong a little longer than Jun. She was very clever and learned things fast. She worked many jobs to save money. Sometimes she worked at McDonald's flipping burgers. Sometimes she sold flowers on the street. Qiao's dream was to make a lot of money, buy her own apartment, and become a true Hong Kong success story. She tried hard to speak Cantonese, the Hong Kong language, perfectly. She tried to act strong and like she knew everything. But deep inside, she often felt just as lonely as Jun. One day, Jun went to McDonald's. Qiao was working behind the counter. Jun's Cantonese was not very good yet, and he was having trouble ordering. Qiao, hearing his accent, knew he was new, just like she had been. She helped him with a quick smile. They started talking. They found out they both came from towns far away. And then they discovered something wonderful. They both loved the songs of a very famous singer named Teresa Teng. Her songs were sweet and soft, and they reminded both of them of home. Because they were both new to the city, a little lonely, and loved the same beautiful songs by Teresa Teng, Jun and Qiao quickly became friends. It felt good to have someone to talk to, someone who understood in the big, busy city. Jun wanted to make more money so Ting could come sooner. Qiao, always full of ideas, said, "We can sell cassette tapes, tapes of Teresa Teng. Everyone loves her songs." So they bought many tapes and sold them on the streets. It was hard work standing for long hours, but they did it together. Jun had an old bicycle. It was not fancy, but it was strong. Often, Qiao would ride on the back of Jun's bicycle as they went to sell tapes or just explored the city. Jun would pedal hard, his legs strong. Qiao would hold onto his shirt, sometimes singing Teresa Teng's songs softly. The wind would blow through their hair. They would laugh. These were simple, happy times for them. They felt like good friends, helping each other make their way. Jun often talked about Ting. He showed Qiao Ting's picture. "She is very pretty," Qiao said, looking at the smiling girl. "You love her very much." "Yes," Jun said, his eyes soft. "I will bring her here as soon as I save enough money." Qiao understood. She knew Jun had a girl waiting for him. Her own heart felt a little squeeze sometimes when she looked at Jun, but she pushed that feeling down. She had her own plans. She needed to be practical. Winter came to Hong Kong, a special holiday. Chinese New Year was coming. It was a time for families to be together, but Jun and Qiao were far from their families. They felt the loneliness even more. One cold New Year's Eve, they were selling tapes, but the streets were mostly empty. Not many people were buying. They found a small sheltered spot. They were cold. They shared a warm roasted sweet potato, their hands touching as they broke it apart. They talked quietly about their hometowns, about their dreams. To keep warm, they huddled close together and that night, feeling so close and so alone in the big city, something new and warm sparked between them. It was more than just friendship. Their hearts beat a little faster when they looked at each other. They held each other, and it felt both comforting and a little bit dangerous. After that night, things felt different between them. The air was filled with unspoken feelings. Chow knew Jun was saving money for Ting. She knew he planned to marry Ting. One day, after they had shared a particularly happy afternoon, laughing and talking easily, Chow felt she had to say something. She looked at Jun, her face serious. "Jun," she said softly but firmly, "listen to me. We're just friends, okay? We are good friends. We both came to Hong Kong to work hard and make a better life. That is all this is." Jun's heart felt a little pang of sadness when she said that. He liked Chow so much. He loved being with her. Her smart ways and quick smile made his days brighter. But he knew she was right in a way. He had Ting. He nodded slowly. "Okay, Chow," he said, his voice quiet. "Just friends." But deep in their hearts, they both knew their feelings were much bigger and more complicated than just friends. Time went by. Jun worked very, very hard. He saved every dollar he could. Finally, the day came when he had enough money. He sent for Ting. Ting arrived in Hong Kong, happy and excited to finally be with Jun. Jun was happy to see her too. He had missed her kind, gentle ways. They got married. Jun tried to be a good husband. He found a job working for his aunt, cooking in her chicken shop. It was a hard, hot job, but he worked without complaining. He still thought about Chow sometimes. He missed her laughter. He missed their shared understanding. Chow also worked incredibly hard. She was so smart and determined. She saved her money carefully. She opened her own little shop, selling flowers and pretty gifts. She wanted to make more and more money. She learned to speak English very well. She wanted to be a true Hong Kong businesswoman, strong and successful. Chiao met a man named Pao. Pao was a tough-looking man. He was a leader of a small gang, and some people were a bit afraid of him. But Pao was surprisingly kind and gentle with Chow. He admired her spirit and her hard work. He helped her with her business. He gave her expensive gifts. He made her feel safe and taken care of. Chow stayed with Pao. He even got a tattoo of Mickey Mouse on his back for her because Chow had once idly mentioned she liked Mickey Mouse while listening to a Teresa Teng song. Pao wanted to make her smile. Chow felt a sense of security with him, but sometimes late at night when she was alone, her thoughts would drift back to Jun, to his old bicycle, and to the simple, sweet songs they used to share. Many seasons changed. The city of Hong Kong grew even bigger, even busier. Jun and Ting lived their quiet, married life. Chow and Pao lived their more exciting and sometimes dangerous life. Jun and Chow did not see each other, but sometimes they would almost meet without knowing it. Maybe Jun would walk down a busy street and just seconds later, Chow would turn the corner onto that same street. Or perhaps they would be in the same crowded market, but in different aisles, never seeing each other. Sometimes Jun would hear one of Teresa Teng's sweet songs playing on the radio. His heart would feel a familiar little ache. He would remember Chow and the way she used to sing along. Chow too would hear those songs. She would smile a small, secret smile, remembering Jun and his kind eyes, and how they used to sell those very tapes together. They both missed the special connection they once had. They missed their easy friendship. One day, after a few more years had passed, Jun was walking on a crowded street. Suddenly he saw a familiar face in the crowd. It was Chow. She saw him at the exact same moment. They both stopped, completely surprised. "Ciao!" Jun exclaimed, a big smile spreading across his face. "Jun!" Ciao cried out, her eyes wide with disbelief and then happiness. They were so overjoyed to see each other. They talked and talked for hours, catching up on each other's lives. It felt as if no time had passed at all. Their old feelings, the warm, special feelings they had for each other, were still there, strong and true. They decided to spend a secret day together. They walked around the city just like they used to. They talked about their lives, their joys, their sadnesses. They remembered the old days, selling tapes and riding the bicycle. It felt so good, so right to be together again. But they both knew, even as they laughed, that their lives were very different now. Jun was married to Ting. Ciao was still with Pao. It was still too hard, too complicated for them to be together in the way their hearts truly wanted. Their secret, wonderful day had to come to an end. They had to say goodbye again. It was a very sad goodbye this time, because now they knew for sure how much they meant to each other. Their hearts ached with the sadness of what could not be. Not long after that day, Pao got into very big trouble with some dangerous people in Hong Kong. He had to leave the city very fast, or he might be badly hurt or worse. He decided to go to New York in America, a place far away where he hoped he could be safe and start over. Ciao, even though her heart was still thinking of Jun, cared for Pao. He had been good to her in his own way. She decided to go with Pao to New York. Jun heard that Ciao had left Hong Kong and gone to America with Pao. He felt a deep, heavy sadness. He knew then that he might truly never see her again. More time went by. John and Ting still lived in Hong Kong. Their life was calm and steady, but John often felt that something important was missing from his life. He thought about Ciao, far away in New York. He thought about his own dreams, the ones he had when he first came to the big city. What did he really want? One day, Jun made a big decision. He felt he needed a big change too. He decided to go to America. He would go to New York. He knew Ciao had gone there. New York was a place for new dreams, new chances, and maybe, just maybe, deep in his hopeful heart, he thought it was a place where lost paths could cross again, even if it was a very, very big city. Many more years passed. Jun lived his life in New York. Ciao also lived her life in New York. But New York is an enormous city with millions and millions of people and so many streets that look the same. For years, they both lived in that same big city, but their paths did not cross. They did not know where the other one was. They worked hard. They sometimes felt lonely. They sometimes remembered Hong Kong and the friend they had shared so much with. And sometimes they would hear the sweet songs of Teresa Teng, and a wave of sadness and old memories would wash over them. One day in the year 1995, something very sad happened that many people around the world heard about. The famous singer, Teresa Teng, the one whose songs Jun and Ciao had loved so much, passed away. The news was everywhere. It was on the radio. It was on TV. Jun was walking down a busy street in New York. He saw a crowd of people looking at a TV in a shop window. The TV was showing pictures of Teresa Teng. It was playing her sweet, familiar songs. Jun stopped. He felt a sudden, deep sadness. He remembered her beautiful voice. He remembered listening to her songs in Hong Kong. He remembered Ciao. At that very same moment, Ciao was walking on the other side of the same street. She also saw the TV in the shop window. She also heard the sad news about Teresa Teng. She also stopped. She felt very sad too, her heart filled with memories of the songs of Hong Kong, of Jun. The singer's most famous song, Tien Mi Mi, which means very sweet, was playing softly from the TV. It was the song they both knew so well. It was the song that had made them laugh on Jun's bicycle so long ago. Jun stood there watching the TV, lost in his thoughts of the past. Chao stood there watching the TV, also lost in her thoughts of the past. Then, very slowly, Jun turned his head to look at the people around him, and very slowly, Chao turned her head too. Their eyes met. Across the busy New York street, through all the people walking by, Jun saw Chao, and Chao saw Jun. After all that time, after all those years, after all those miles that had kept them apart, they saw each other again. A small look of surprise came into Jun's eyes. A small look of surprise came into Chao's eyes. Then, slowly, a small smile started to grow on Jun's face, and slowly a small smile started to grow on Chao's face too. It was a little smile. It was perhaps a little sad. Thinking of all the lost time, it was perhaps a little shy after so long. But it was also, unmistakably, a little bit happy. A smile that knew many things, a smile that remembered everything. And there, on a busy street in New York, with a sweet song playing for a singer they both loved, their story waited quietly for whatever would happen next.
太棒了！作为一个母语非英语的人，你把故事听完了，你离英语自由又近了一步。我们下个视频见。